This video is one of the most important videos you'll ever watch, and it's about context for your Openclaw. Understanding this will turn your agent from a total dumbass to one of the smartest people you'll ever know. And this is kind of inspired by one of the comments from our viewers. Thank you, Note, by the way. Amazing. Goated. And he says, MiniMax works really well on low context. Like the moment you go above 120K context window, it feels like I'm talking to ChatGPT 3.5. And, if I want to phrase it properly, I'm talking to a total dumbass.
Yeah.
All right, I hope I can say that on YouTube. But this is actually really true, and it's something that we found. And it's not really, I think Openclaw doesn't really tell you unless you ask it.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's kind of important. So what experiment we did earlier is I talked to Jeff, which is on MiniMax 2.5, and I asked him, what is the context? And I want to say that he's already crossed the threshold.
Yes, which is crazy. And a couple of questions here, right? Because Michael, you taught me before that the context window automatically resets to 0 every day.
Every morning?
Every morning.
Right.
But that's not the case because this, as you can see,
it's 5. It's right. It's 10:51. It's already the start of the day. His context window is already filled up.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we really need to address, and this is really important for lower end models and just kind of how these AIs work. But the easiest way that you want to, if you want to know how much context you're using, because it's sometimes not displayed on chat.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you're using Openclaw on terminal, it will actually show you how much context you're using, but you can actually ask it. So just say, how much context are you using? That would be a good question. And then Jeff came back with this result, right? So this is quite important because the best way to describe it is that the more context you're using, the dumber and the less reliable your AI is going to become.
Yeah.
Right? So there's that sudden switch where this AI is super intelligent. You can rely on him for everything. But at a certain point, all of a sudden, he just becomes stupid.
Yeah.
Right?
As you can see, it's already the start of the day. And
stupid.
It's already being
stupid.
dumb. Yeah.
Right. And then I'm just going to go back over here to Stark as well. So Stark is running on Opus. And yet again, at the start of the day, he's already 100K out of 200. So there's some differences here, I would say. So we all have what we're doing here is we really want to show you the results for you guys and really how to improve it. So let's just start one by one. So Stark is running on Opus, and Opus doesn't really seem to have that intelligence train at higher context, which is why a lot of times when we use Opus, it feels very fluid. It feels like you're paying for it. You're getting what your money's worth is from here.
Yeah.
But I think if you're using a lower end model like MiniMax, you really want to be able to manage that context.
Yeah.
So okay, let's go back a bit and really say what is context, right? So I think that's quite important for us just to kind of define it. We have a slide here. It's not the best slide, but it kind of iterates our point. The context, the hidden power. This is a presentation made by our AI agents, anyways. So the way that these AI works is it kind of has a working brain. It's kind of like like a human memory, right, of what you're doing. But at some point, when you're giving even a human being, like I've worked with assistants before, I give deal with my car, deal with my house, deal with my parents, they're coming in today, deal with this, they get overloaded. And that's exactly what these AIs are feeling. They're feeling, okay, their context is being overloaded, they're being overwhelmed, and then they become stupid, right? So that's kind of the best way to imagine context is how much they're kind of handling in their brain, in their temporary brain right now, until it becomes overloaded.
And that was one of the misconceptions that I fell into in the first week was when I learned about Openclaw, they were talking about how its memory is amazing. It's like unlimited.
Right.
And I didn't know that they were talking about the memory,
Save the memory. Long-term memory versus short-term memory.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So short-term memory is what decides how smart your AI bot is. The long-term memory is, it can be stored, so it doesn't really matter that much. So in this video, we'll talk mostly about context.
Yes.
Okay, so why does a context window? So it's kind of something that's interesting is that Openclaw automatically resets itself. So the best analogy for this is that it kills itself every day. And it re-wakes up, then it reads your long-term files, your long-term storage, and then loads that into the context. It's almost like a assistant coming to work. They wake up, they're like, oh yeah, okay, who am I? Okay, I'm Jennifer. Okay, let's just invent a random name so I don't dox any people in the office. I'm Jennifer, and I'm serving Ron today. And then they kind of read up these files that you saved up long term in the memory. We have a video on memory. Just go watch the channel, but we have a video on how to optimize that memory. But it kind of remembers, oh yeah, I'm doing Ron today, and here's some of my tasks. Here's what I'm doing. So this goes back to your question, right? When it wakes up, it's already loading up context, right? So if you give a lot of information about who you are and the information that you're giving it is unnecessary,
okay,
it's already going to fill up that short-term storage, and it's not going to be very, very well performing today.
Okay.
So that's kind of a one tip that you want to have. And we're going to make a future video on how to optimize. There's certain files inside your bot, which is like your memory, your soul, your long-term storage.
Yeah.
You don't want it to read too much of the irrelevant stuff.
I see.
Right.
So what you're saying right here is this is literally the first message of the day.
Yeah, the first message of the day.
And it's already at 136K because it read all of the files.
You gave it a lot of information because when you start talking to Jeff, right, you were telling him your life story, like maybe this is how I grew up, like, right? I remember you were doing that. You're like, you had a 2-hour chat with him.
Because that's what the YouTube beginner guide said in the first week when Openclaw was popping up. They're like, just blast it with your life story so it understands you better, or what you expect. And I did in fact have hours of conversation with Jeff telling him my whole life story. So
Jeff remembers it, right? Yeah. He wakes up, he's like, oh yeah, Ron's got a really pretty girlfriend or something like that, and maybe you want to buy her flowers, and he's thinking about all these things. He's not focusing on work. Right. That's what's loading up the context window.
I see. Okay.
Right. And then there's also something I want to say about context window, which is like in theory, the context window it's a short-term memory for the bot, right? For the agent or for whatever. But to save costs. What sometimes these models do in the background, and I think MiniMax is guilty of this, is that it just dumps certain parts of it. Which is why, like, say, for example, even when it's executing a certain task, say, for example, it needs to make a presentation for me, all of a sudden it might forget, what presentation are we making? Are we making AI or making crypto videos? It suddenly forgets. And this is not a fault of you. This is a fault this is a hidden feature inside MiniMax to save costs for themselves. They kind of just dump memory that they think is not important. But sometimes what they dump is actually really important.
Yeah.
Right? So this is why when you're using cheaper models, it does feel like it gets stupider over time. And this kind of dumping happens quite aggressively on the cheaper models because they want to save as much power. Like, I mean, these Chinese guys are smart, right? They want to save as much money as possible, right? For every $1 you put in, they only want to do 20 cents of work, right? So they're finding ways to do so. So that's why the context window is really, really important here, where you want to, especially when you're using MiniMax or even Kimi or one of the Chinese models, I would say try to reduce the amount of context you're going to give your bot, right? And the next question I'll kind of just see that on your head is how do you do that? Yeah. Right.
Actually, I just looked at it. Yeah. Look at that input token, 2.2 million. Yeah. Output 3.5K.
Yeah.
Tokens.
Yeah. He's thinking a lot. He's thinking a lot.
Yeah.
And we just did a comparison just now, I think. And this is just a comparison between MiniMax and Opus. So Opus is just really good at working with the full memory that it's got. And it actually knew more. I've trained Opus more towards work tasks. So when I trained my bot, I was very focused on not telling him who the fuck I am. You don't need to give a shit, okay? I don't know if I can swear in this video again. You don't need to give a shit about who I am. You don't need to care my education, my life, or whatever, right? All you need to do is make a good presentation for me, right? That's all you need to do. So that's kind of why Stark, he wakes up and he's already done a presentation for me, and his context is still not overloaded. But I'm still mindful of the context. I can still ask him about the context, and then he made a presentation for me, and he delivered, I think, a lot better than your one. I don't want to compare sizes here, but he made a full-on presentation for me that I can access on the web, right? So that's a little bit better than Jeff, who just typed up an MD document, which is like, and he didn't even send it to me. Right?
Yeah.
He didn't even send me the document. He just said, "Hey, this is what's really important for 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 context, and I would say his presentation was useless. It really didn't do anything. This is his presentation, just sessions, and it's very like boilerplate.
Yeah.
Right. So when I trained my bot, I was very specific on what I needed. I said, hey, you need to do your X research. He remembered that. All right. Now in his skill, he knows, okay, he needs to do research on X. He needs to do research on the web. He needs to compare models. He tried his best, right, with the prompt that I had. But yet again, training your bot for a specific task is much better than for it to be a general bot.
I see. So the context you provide, because contrary to popular, like, okay, let's say, because we were, as beginners, we were taught that provide as much context as you can so they can understand the situation.
Right.
But from what we have observed is you need to also limit the irrelevant context.
Yes, exactly. Okay. And I think I was watching a video yesterday on the way back, and they were saying how AI, even though they're trained to be general AI, they like to specialize. So they gravitate towards specializing in one particular task. So that's why for me, on Stark's side, I really wanted to train him to be, okay, just really good at making presentations right now.
I see.
Right? I don't want him to manage my dinners. I don't want him to manage my lunch. I don't want him to order my lunch. I just want him to make a good fucking presentation, if I can say that. I think it's later in the video. I just want him to make a good presentation for me on that respect. So that's why it's a little bit better. And yet again, I can tune this. I can make it better. And the other way you can do it is, can you clear your context? So that's the other tip that you really want, is that when you're approaching that limit, if you feel like your bot is getting stupider, clear your context, right? I mean, that's an easy way. Just clear your context, dump your brain. Oops, they can't actually manage. If you want to first, okay, let's start. Just start a new session, and he'll tell you how to do it. There's a natural compacting stage. So the way that natural compacting works is that it remembers all these things, and it's actually very funny. Our brain actually works the exact same way too. So what your brain actually automatically does is that, let's say you do a lot of things this morning, but you maybe had a really great drink, or you had a really great video that we produced, your brain actually automatically says, okay, this is the most important thing you did this morning, internally. And then whether you brush your teeth or not, I don't think you remember you know, how you brush your teeth, how long you spent brushing your teeth, what toothpaste you use. You automatically clear your context. You automatically compact your context, and that's what the AI is also doing. Just that it's not doing it as well as humans, because you know, it's not a human, right? So yet again, that's just actually quite unfortunate. We cannot actually restart it. So this is a good question. We should actually make a video on how to restart context, but you have to do it every day on that respect. But my lunch is here. But anyways, with that guys, no. But to just finish up on this, you actually, we'll probably do a video on this. There's a UI. I think you should. Okay, that's an Openclaw gateway. You can do it by running. So you have to actually copy this into your gateway to run it. So we'll do this. Actually, can you run the command? Let me see if I can really force him to run it, because yet again, he's trying to tell me to do it. I believe he can do it, but he just doesn't want to. Okay, this is where I feel like he's gaslighting me a little bit. I just want to see the result. But starting a new session means you kill him, and he comes back to life again. He reads his memory, and then he has a much clearer context.
I see.
Yeah. So I think that's around it for what we want to cover. I just want to see if this works. Last bit of information, of course, our channel is growing really well. Thank you guys so much for your support. We actually read everything that you guys post. So if you guys have a comment or question about this, especially because it's a large topic, leave that down below. Or if you have any results for other bots, we have been focused on Opus for me and MiniMax for you. And then we'll play around with that. And if any for questions, just tell us. We actually want practical uses on this channel. I think that's what is actually missing in this space. So anyways, guys, let me just lastly check if this is if Stark's back. No, he doesn't. So we'll have to make a video about how to clear it in sec. So yeah. So with that, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and you can do a session cleanup. So maybe a session cleanup will help. But I'm disappointed he couldn't do it. I'm pretty sure he can if you really force him. Just like, run the bash command. But anyways, with that, guys.
That's a big revelation. So.
It's a big revelation. All right, with that, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. See you guys in the next one. Peace.